think you did it,
All right.
Farhad. I think you
I
did it.
think we did. Yeah. Would you double check? All right, we're live. Yeah, we're good. Let's play this. Let's play the theme, shall we?
Yeah.
Parte Del Piero, rete Del Piero. Pallone con i contagini per Nedved, Pirlo, la conclusione in rete. Andrea Pirlo, un gol pazzesco. Del Piero, gol! Alex Del Piero. Palla di Pogacar, Pogba, rete! Un gol incredibile! Pogba fa esplodere lo Juventus Stadium.
Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the all-new Turin Giants podcast. My name is Farhad. I'm the host. Blah blah blah. Loves you most. I'm joined here by Zach. I don't know. I've been thinking about the intro. It started as a joke, but it's so corny. I don't know if
you've been doing it for so long. Yeah, I don't know if you can stop it now.
Yeah, I can.
Unless
if it's bad,
Farhad,
we can stop.
Unless you don't love us most, and then in which case, then you would have to stop it.
Dude, jokes aside, you brought up the point, but the love that I've gotten from this podcast, and I always meant to make sure that people understand, like this was just an opportunity. I started it, and I love our listeners. I truly do. I just wanted to mention that. Alessandro Del Piero here joining us. As you can see in the back, I'm doing a little renovation. The lighting is still a problem. We're working on it, but we're here to talk about the game that just happened. We are live on YouTube as well. We'll be reading the comments. Zach, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay, I guess. Little annoyed with the draw. Game we absolutely should have won when you look at the chances created, but pleasant performance, and I'm willing to rest my head on that today.
Yeah. Zach, by the way, you have... Oh, go ahead and talk, Zach, for a second.
Yeah. We have a garage door alert on Farhad's side of things. But, I think if Tudor was still the coach and we had drawn this game, I would have been upset. But I think you have to take a new look at Juventus in the second game under a new manager when evaluating to see, are we implementing things under Spalletti's vision that will enable us to build on those and be successful over the course of a season. And so my sort of perspective of this game took a different light considering the new appointment. Farhad, is your garage door situation?
We're all good. I wanted to play. I wanted to play your intro, buddy. It's been a while. One of the greatest rap songs ever, and you dedicate it to you, my friend. Tell me I don't love you. This song still slaps. I mean, it's just incredible how good little Troy left us with the legacy. But yeah, first things first. Let's get to it. I've had this starting 11 in front of me. We always start the podcast, the post, with a little, starting 11 thoughts. Vlahovic, Yildiz, Chico. I'm starting the way I wrote them down. So in the back, Coop, Gatti, Kalulu, McKennie, Thuram, Loca, Cambiaso in the middle, Yildiz, Chico side by side, and Vlahovic up top. What'd you think, Zach?
Well, the first thing that struck me was, other than the Coop positioning, this was a Tudor starting 11. And so the curiosity for me was, how would they play relative to not only last game, but also under Tudor. And I was sort of pleased with how we played. And I want to get into this over the course of the episode, but we sort of haven't played this positive amalgamation of our last several managers, which was cool to see. And I think it translated to some really fun play in general. Despite the result, this was a really fun football game to watch. And I think that's credit to the starting 11 here, who put out Spalletti's game plan, I think, fairly well up until the 72nd minute when the first subs came to play.
Yeah, and Sporting was no slouch either. They're doing way better than us in this competition, and their last three results in the Champions League were Kairat Almaty 4-1, Olympique Marseille 2-1, and they beat Napoli 2-1. Not not
They're lighting
terrible.
up they're lighting up their league too, man. They're scoring
Absolutely.
goals for fun. They're for their defensive performance in league has been fantastic. This was never going to be, frankly, there's no easy matches. We're going to talk about the next two coming up. You got Bodo Glint and Paphos, and if anyone's like going to the Arctic Circle in November is going to be a walk in the park. They probably have never been to the Arctic Circle in November. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a new experience.
It's warm that time of year, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Bring your shorts, baby. Bring
Exactly.
your shorts.
Yes.
Yeah, so the fact that they scored what was the 12th minute, and you can see Gatti visibly upset because what I wrote down here, I may be wrong. It seems like whatever I say, kind of, the people who know the game a little better just jump at me. But McKennie and Kalulu kind of standing there. Sorry, I forgot to change the camera here. But I can see why I looked at Gatti. The reason he was upset was there's two people in the path of the goal that should never have gone in that far corner, right?
There's a couple things here.
Yes.
The first is the player who got the assist from Sporting cut into the midfield, and our midfield was out of position. And you'll see if you go back and look at the replay, McKennie take a little step inside.
You're talking about Trincao. With the assist.
Yes, correct. So he's good on his left foot. The ball is on his left foot. McKennie makes the right decision in that moment to shift in to protect against Trincao driving to goal. Well, what happens when when McKennie shifts in, his guy is then wide open, all due to the center midfielder being slightly caught out of position. Well, once the pass happens, McKennie has to shift over, giving the player an opportunity to shoot. That's the first thing. I'm not blaming McKennie on this one. I think he did exactly what you should do. The midfield was caught flat-footed, and that's what started this whole thing. The second thing is, and some folks in the chat kind of mention it, is, and Hani mentioned it specifically, that Di Gregorio's positioning was bad, but another person said further up that if you had switched goalkeepers in this game, we would have left with a victory. And our good friend Federic, who is not able to join us today, has always said that the mark of a good keeper is an individual who earns points for your team, turning a loss into a draw or draw into a victory. And Di Gregorio was unable, with the one shot on goal all game, to redirect it or to do anything with it. I think his positioning and his reaction could have been a little bit better there, albeit the attacker put it at the hardest possible place for him to defend it. But I think you put those two things combined, and the first shot on goal, the only shot on goal, let me verify real quick. Yeah, the only shot on goal all game, 12th minute goes in. And that's such a bummer. And we've seen that a lot, actually, over the last 2 years with Juventus, right? Is that the opposing team gets one little sniff, they capitalized. We have 18 shots, 9 on goal, and end up with the same number of goals.
Especially against Portuguese teams. I feel like you should study Portuguese teams. They're tricky, they're fast, they're good. They rarely give up points on the road. Like, come on, look at we played a really strong team. The second half was a mess. What do you think is the difference between the first half and second half? Because sometimes games can be, tales of two halves. Your thoughts on the first half, your thoughts on the second half, Zach?
Honestly, I think the halves, and this will be I'm differentiating a lot of the football we've played over the last year and a half. Both of these halves were actually good halves of football.
It was good.
We haven't said that about Juventus. Not under Motta, not under Tudor. Always, every game, these giant lapses where we're too slow, we're asleep, we're not coming out with the right energy. We played hard this whole game. We created chances. You talk about the Chico chance cutting through the middle of the box from Yildiz at the end of the first half. That was slightly nicked wide that he definitely should have scored. balanced by Jonathan David's header in extra time. Or
imagine the limbs on that one. Imagine if he scores this goal, what that does to our season.
What that does to his confidence as well, right? Yeah. So I think it was a really balanced game from our team in the sense that we played really well. There were very, very few mistakes, and I think the only two were in that first half. One on the goal and one where they hit the crossbar. And that was it. It was a really well done game of football, and I think that's a product of still the team learning Spalletti's system, but also being propelled by that new coach boost that we know is going to happen, right? They're still playing with that energy, still playing with that fire. Because under Mota and Tudor, we never played a full 90 minutes. Now under 2 games under Spalletti, 90 minutes.
Yeah. I know you mentioned that on previous podcasts. Thanks for picking up the slack left by me. I know you guys recorded. Thank you. Frederick, he's taking a sick day today. Kevin is busy, and Jack, our new addition, awesome new co-host. He was at the game carrying the flag. Mm-hmm. Well, if you follow us on Instagram at Turin Giants, I'll post a picture. It's just a random message from him, and he's carrying a huge Juventus flag. The one
on the field.
On the field. Those that you wave at, Curva Sud waves, the big ass flags. Just out of context, Jack. But yeah, thank you boys for taking care of the weekend episodes and lives and stuff like that. But yeah, it's reading the comments here. Alexander, it's really sad. Alexander says that I'm shocked about how good we are. But let's get back to the game itself. Mm-hmm. We can be good, man. But chat, are we cooked? I mean,
that was a question. That was a question that somebody asked earlier. And in the Champions League, let's just give some context here. So in the Champions League, we are currently 23rd on 3 points because we've got 3 draws and 1 defeat. The other half of the table plays tomorrow. It's almost guaranteed that we fall below the 24th
unless
spot
everyone loses
to advance. Yeah, but that's probably not going to happen. So we're going to probably be looking at being on the outside looking in after the end of tomorrow. Just to give y'all some context, right? We've got 4 more games, and last year the lowest amount of points that advanced was 11. Okay, so we're sitting on 3. And with 4 more games, I mean, you got to at least win 2. If you win 3 based on how the last year's table went, then we should be fine to squeak into the elimination rounds, which from a financial standpoint is good. From a sporting standpoint, that could mean we are cooked, Farhad. But yeah, I mean, what we're looking at is Bodo Glimt away. We're looking at Paphos at home. We're looking at and let me verify the homes and aways because we got Benfica and Monaco. So I think Benfica home and Monaco away. So these are, I mean, even Bodo Glimt did an easy opponent, going away, like I said, in November. These are tricky games, and we're going to have to treat them professionally. I think good news is we have a relatively easier November, but things get hard again after that. So it's up to the team to put it together.
Yeah, I mean, Alex here is predicting 12 points, but you never know what this
get through. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, to get through. But you never know. Maybe for a first Champions League game against a strong opponent, I don't think he did terribly. And if he hits that stride, there's certainly live. Not live. We're live. There's certainly life in Serie A still. It's a tight race this year. Spalletti kind of joining it right at the right moment. But as far as the Champions League, if he goes on to win the first one, win the second one, and then the momentum picks up, we'll see. I mean, we're kind of cooked, but we're like al dente still. We're not terribly cooked yet. But hopefully, this is
the margin for error, Farhad. Let's just be real. We're not done. It's definitely doable. Because we kind of front-loaded our harder games, but not winning today means our margin of error is minimal.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to the game here. As always, I know Patrick kept the tradition of me checking the whoscored.com. Ratings alive. So here's Vlahovic. Certainly great game for him. A goal, 7.0. He is the leader. Man, the Gregorio, Frederick's buddy, is in the fives here, 5.9. Kind of harsh. I mean, like you say, he didn't have much to do, but the goal was his mistake. Maybe there was too many people in the way. I don't know, but let's see what they say here. Gatti, Koopmeiners 6.4 and Kalulu 6.8. I don't know about that. Let's just skip it. You know, we get the point. Koopmeiners.
Yeah, we need to talk about him because look, it's only two. It's only 2 games. Okay, so I don't want what I'm about to say to be getting ahead of ourselves, but he has shown a level of composure in the back line that even some of our defenders don't show. And when you combine his passing ability, which as a center back means he usually has a little bit more time and space to eye up some deeper passes, we've seen what I would say is a very good ball playing defender. Back there, been very composed in defense, and today you saw him doing line breaking passes, which in the midfield we never saw. Always
I love it so
simple
much.
sideways passes, and frankly, right, his line breaking pass to Yildiz was what propelled the goal in the first place.
Speak on it, baby. That's the first thing I noticed.
Yep.
Is not that Gatti was already. It's like they're expecting a terrible pass. Gatti was standing by the sideline expecting a useless ball, but you know what? Coop goes, cuts through the middle. The machine gets going, and you know we like to dissect goals here with Zach. Great goal, great counterattack, and without that mentality of a midfielder playing defense, Coop really impressed today, and I feel like his rating here, what was it? 6.
It was harsh. I mean, he led us in passing. Okay, he led us in passing with 55 completed passes, second on our team in touches. He, you know, you get a feeling about as an audience member, you get a feeling about a player when you see their demeanor on the pitch, and there's some players that just absolutely make us nervous. His level of composure back there is, you know, honestly, for the last 2 games. When the ball goes down his side, I'm never worried. I'm not concerned. And frankly, the goals that we've conceded haven't come through him. And he might be, you know, reinventing himself as one of the more expensive center backs in Syria, doing a role a la Bonucci, right? As a distributor, which we've I think seriously lacked since Bonucci left.
For sure. Yeah, it's an interesting position that Spalletti came in and he's like, "Oh, you mean I have this Swiss knife of a player at my disposal?" Yeah. So
you say that, but it's not like Coop has really been a Swiss Army knife. If anything, he's been the opposite. We've tried to play him in various positions, and he's failed at all of them. That is a dull knife, a very very dull knife. And you got to credit a coach. Like I think there's 3 parts to this. One, you have to credit a coach who's able to see a player who has certain characteristics and say, "I'm going to have you play center back." Okay. Then you need 2. You need the player to be like, "Yes, boss," and show everybody else on the team that he's bought in to that with that willingness to play a weird position, at least for his experience, and do it with the plum. And then 3, the 3 is the doing it with a plum part. He not only says, "Yes, boss," but he goes out there and he does a job comparable, if not better, to the people who've been playing that position their entire life. And that is a credit to Spalletti, and it's a credit to Koopmeiners because of that. And I'll be curious to see once Lloyd Kelly comes back, whether we see Koopmeiners continue to play in the center back position, maybe shift over to the other side, considering Gatti's shakiness. Because we don't know. I don't know if he's there just because he's relatively tall with a left foot, or whether this is a future for him in Spalletti's mind.
Yeah, there's a few comments here just to regroup a little bit. Yeah, there's a lot of love here for Coop at defender position. I want to ask a question. There's a person here, the old lady. Is this Nate? Just reply in the chat. If it's Nate from Australia, then he's an OG follower.
By the way, well, hold on. While we wait for his response,
yes,
we've got folks from Australia here. We've got folks from Austria here. We've got folks from America.
Shout out
here,
your
obviously.
country, by the way.
Yeah, we got folks in from all over the place.
I love it.
So
there's quite a few of us. You know, every game there's more and more people watching us, which we appreciate. Never thought just a couple of months in to this YouTube we'll be getting these numbers. So we appreciate you guys. No, old lady is not Nate. That's okay. We'll survive.
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Hey, Far, can we talk a little little tactics?
It's all you, baby. Let's go.
Because this was interesting to me. How we talked. How is Spalletti going to play? I think a lot of us, like myself, were like 4-3-3. Some people said 4-2-3-1. Some people said, well, he might keep the 3-5-2. Well, we're seeing, I think, a very creative utilization of our players to maintain some level of consistency with the formations that we had played in the past, while also implementing cool injections to it to make it work better than it has under Tudor. And I think there's two components of it. The first is he has the team, or the 3-4-2-1, end up playing in possession very similar to how Thiago Motta had us play in his 4-2-3-1. You'll see the fullbacks drift in with the midfielders to create a center midfield box. And we saw that today with McKennie, Cambiasso, Thuram, and Locatelli in the midfield. You had Koopmeiners and Gatti staying back. You had Kalulu and Yildiz, much to your chagrin, Farhad, maintaining
yes,
width.
Chagrin was done. Chagrin was there.
Yes, there was much chagrin. But you have Kalulu kind of being as a right back, Yildiz balancing the left, and then Chico pushing up on the right with Vlahovic in the middle. Very similar in its formation to how Motta did, but very contrary to Motta. You saw a very purposeful, direct manner of playing. Like we said, those line-breaking passes, as well as those release balls to the channel out wide to Yildiz and to Chico. This direct style of play allowed the ball to move quickly up the pitch when we won the ball, and to fashion those, 18 shots, 9 on goal. What I thought very effectively, in which, as I said earlier, should have translated to a victory. And I think this sort of hybrid combination of that Spalletti's employing, where you think of, and I said it was sort of an amalgamation of Thiago tactics, Tudor tactics, as well as Spalletti's sort of creative layer over it, was really cool to see. And I think in the last two games has been employed really well, or deployed really well by these players.
Yeah, Mitch here in the comments. He's from Austria, by the way. One of the greatest jokes in movie history. Let's put a shrimp on that, Bobby. If you know that, you're a good person. If you know which movie that's from. Anyways, he's saying that actually when Bremer went down last year, Koop offered himself to play CB. Motta refused. I wish we had Freddie Scoops here to confirm that. Sounds like something he would know. Let's talk about a couple of other players here.
A shout out from Chile.
Santiago, Chile. Yeah, man, that's amazing. I love that we have fans all over the world. So we appreciate you guys. Miretti, I know he just came on at the end. I thought it was, what minute was he? If you can pull that up for me, Zach. What minute?
83rd.
On? 83rd. I think Spalletti regretted. I hope Spalletti regretted taking him on, subbing him on that late in the game, because he kind of showed promise, didn't he? I was like, what, Miretti? I saw his name, and a couple of good passes. Someone here in the chat mentioned that maybe he should have even started. I don't know about that, but
no.
His pinpoint pass. Yeah, for sure. No, that's a wild theory, but certainly someone Spalletti can use in midfield. I remember his pinpoint pass, the diagonal to Kostic, that ended up in a shot on goal, I believe he did. I think Kostic is feeling it too. What do you think about a couple of his shots outside the box? obviously scored a goal over the weekend.
I think Kostic is playing with house money right now. The dude's 33. He doesn't have that many years left. And when the new coach came in, he said, you know what? I'm going to give you a chance. We're going to go with a more veteran team. We're going to go in the last game. We're going to go with a more veteran team, one more, maybe more acclimated to this style of football and Juventus. And Kostic says, screw it. And he went out there and he's played with this sort of freedom that maybe we didn't see with him under the brief appearances under Tudor, as well as in his most recent appearances 2 years ago before he spent a year on loan. Because he's like, screw it. If I'm almost done, let me go out there and have some fun. You see him taking 30-yard shots, whipping the ball in. And I think while he's not the greatest player in the world, any player playing with freedom and confidence is going to be better than not. And so I like the fact that he's going out there and he's having a go at it. I think we're going to need to rein that in to be in a sense that it needs to be a little bit more purposeful with some of those movements. But I do appreciate the level of energy he's brought in. I don't think he's been a negative. As for Moretti, Moretti was really good in the time today. I think there was the classic conundrum that Spalletti was facing. You had a team that was the better team, dominating with almost every player playing well. Who do you sub and when in that scenario, right? If everyone's playing well and you have the chances, right? It's not so obvious when you should sub and who you should sub unless it's a straight swap due to exhaustion, right? And so I think Moretti, it maybe and could have gotten more playing time, but Spalletti was looking at Dusan and Locatelli, who was subbed off of this when Odzic and Reddy were brought on, and saying, these guys are playing fantastic right now. I don't want to take them off. Okay. It wasn't until sort of Loki had that cramp, right? Whether they had that sub and Moretti and Odzic came on.
So, couple of facts here from our friend Alberto AJC. Dusan Vlahovic has scored 9 goals in his 20 appearances in the UEFA Champions League. In the last 20 years, only Cristiano Ronaldo with 12 and Gonzalo Higuain with 10 have done better after the same number of appearances for Juventus. Yeah, he was on fire today. I don't know if he's kind of throwing the wrench into the whole let's get rid of Mr. Buongiorno. Am I right?
No.
Oh, wrong drop. Where's my? There we go.
Buongiorno. Come ha detto lei, buongiorno.
Yeah, at some point in the first half, Mr. Buongiorno he was just shooting them left and right. Would have been nice to have 2 goals in the first half by Vlahovic, but only managed 1 on that great counterattack.
He finished the game with 6 shots, all of them on goal. And over the course of a season, that's going to yield results. And I think on one hand, his job is to score. And he has not really done it consistently, nor against premier competition for us in his tenure at Juventus. So if he starts doing it now, I am not going to complain because that's his job. If he's bolstered, on the other hand, by being on a contract year, a la, the Rabiot memes, right?
Isn't that funny how that's
contract year.
That's the first person that people think about when you talk about a player who's on fire during the contract year. Rabiot comes up.
I mean, because he was average at best his first 3 years, and then all of a sudden he was a god. If we take advantage of it this year and he plays well because he's playing for a contract elsewhere, I'm not going to say no. And I'm not going to be bitter about it, but I'm going to be more than happy to still bid him adieu at the end of the season.
Couple of shout outs here. We got Mexico City in the house. Alessandro Belpiero loves that. And comment here, which I agree, I pulled it up on the screen here. Not the best game for Thuram today, but he's still one of our best players on the team. And that comment is followed by he needs work on his shooting, which is kind of correct. He had a couple of stinkers there.
That's classic him though. That's what we've said. That's what we said is the biggest weakness with Turam has always been his final ball. We talked about it at the beginning of last season when you were just prime hater. Um, and he cleaned it up as the season developed. He started this year in the first 2 games brilliantly, but he's really struggled to find that level of control and dominance that we saw last season or in the first 2 games this season since. And so I'd be curious to see where he goes from here. I think today, besides the horrible shooting, I don't think he was bad. In fact, he did everything perfectly right, especially the final ball on the goal we scored, putting that perfect weight right to where Dusan needed it in order to score. I think the shots were particularly visible and notably bad, which kind of detracts, I think, from what I thought was a really pretty solid midfield performance. I would like to say real quick. I see in the I see a comment about Dusan scoring, and I think about him being the only one who seems to score. I think that's he does lead our team in goals. He's got 5 goals across all competitions, with Yildiz being the second. I think the problem is that we haven't scored, but for the last few games, for like 4 or 5, and I think what we do need to see is guys like Openda and David start contributing in the score sheet as opposed to sprinkling out the goals amongst Lloyd Kelly, who's got 2, Gatti, who's got 2, and Kostic, who's got 1. Even Cabal has 1, right? It's time that our attackers start supporting Dusan, because other than him, it has been a lot of goal by committee, which you need over the course of a season. But we bought Conceição to be that assist and goal presence in the attacking third, and he has no assists this year across all competitions, which is not good enough from him. We've already talked about Openda and David, not good enough from them.
You're talking about Chico, right?
Yeah.
He should be better. Yeah, Chico seems maybe it was the Portuguese bias, but seems like they shut him down real well in the first, especially in the first half. You had like 3 people on Conceição. We need to talk about the referee, because there's a connection. It's like the referees kind of know who Conceição is. He wasn't getting the fouls, and the referee, especially in the first half, from what I read from all the thousands of group chats and comments that I'm in, people were not happy with the referee. Maybe there is a UEFA bias. It's a really corny thing to say, but who knows? I mean, you cannot deny the possibility of someone at UEFA going, you know what, that's Juve.
I don't see. Look, I think the ref was a little. He struggled at times to control the game. I think there was that moment with Conceição where Conceição got absolutely tackled, like American football tackled. And he made a card motion at the ref, and the ref carded him, not the other guy, because he made that motion. I mean,
and then he carded the ref.
And then, but I think the ref struggled with his consistency in that regard and trying to like imprint his, being forceful in the match and stuff. I think at the end of the day, though, he really had no control. He had no impact on this result. This result, it was a fairly open game. I don't think was necessarily hindered or hampered by the stop-startiness of ticky-tack fouls or the like. I think the story of this game is Juventus had all the opportunities to win this game and they didn't. There's any
for sure. No, I mean, there's definitely no way I'm blaming the ref, but there was a couple of moments here and there where I felt like they got away with a couple, especially the pushes again. Like if you're pushing the player away and your arm is extended like a like a running back doing
stiff arm.
Yeah, I feel like that's a bit much. Shout outs to Cola99. He says this might have been Dusan's best, most complete 90 minutes in a Juve jersey. Zach, come on. You have a problem with that statement.
I don't. And I don't have a problem with that statement, but I think, my head goes immediately to where Azaruz goes. He said this a little bit earlier. He's like, imagine if we had this Dusan for the last 2 seasons. That's the deal. Is Dusan every once in a while reminds us he's a good player, which only makes all of his bad performances that much worse in my mind. because he could have been playing like this for the last 3 years and he hasn't. And so I don't think of that fondly. I think of that with a lot of regret, because that player's been there all along, and it's because of him that he hasn't. He hasn't come out with the right mentality. He hasn't come out with the right physicality. He hasn't come out with the right technicality, and has just let lame duck after lame duck on the pitch that has caused us, especially last year, to lag behind where we should be. And then when he comes out and says, "Here, look at me, I'm good again," it makes me feel sad, because when he does leave at the end of the season, and I hope he does, it will be a story of what could have been instead of what was.
Yeah, I think I'm no good at making memes, but it would be hilarious if that Scooby-Doo meme when they're pulling off the mask off the bad guy and it's Rabiot, and you're pulling off the Duchamp mask. There's a couple more people here.
Mitch says, but Zach, where would we be without? Do we have a couple Mitchells and Mitchells in the chat? Where would we be this season without Duchamp? You know exactly where we would be without Duchamp. We would be less 6 goals, and that means we would have more losses and more draws than we do. I think, like I said, I'll take full advantage of him playing his heart out this season because we've needed it. But as in any team, if or when his form dips, like it tends to do after a new coach or after a new phase in the year, we'll need the other guys, like I said, to step up. We brought in David and Openda for a reason. We bought Chico for a reason.
ASAP, they need to step up.
They need 100%.
Like yesterday.
And so all 3 of those players have not been carrying their weight. Besides Duchamp, it's only been Yildiz, who's got 7 goal contributions this year leading our team. We need those other guys to step up.
Yeah, the boy's exhausted. Even though he got his rest in the previous game against Cremonese, which sounds like a delicious dish. And I was asking Kevin over the weekend to give me a good wine pairing with Cremonese, and he suggested a Chianti, I think. Those are the kind of things we talk about in between the podcast. Our group chat is I live for our group chat. I love you guys so much. Zach, who gets the award today?
I have a very big testicles.
Who's got the big testicles of the day, buddy?
Well, we've just been talking about Duchamp. I'm gonna because I go first. I'm gonna give Duchamp. My heart really wanted to give it to Coop because of how much we have rightfully criticized his play and how much of a revelation these last 2 games have been. I think Duchamp, for the on the pitch leadership and how he carried himself in this game, in addition to his involvement and ultimately scoring our goal, is deserved, in my opinion, of the player of the match. Who are you going to give?
I mean, I've been gushing over Coop, and plus it's this sound drop literally has cobwebs on it, so I just wanted to play
Machine Robocop. Pop, 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 pop.
You never when I play a Beppe drop, I just never know how loud it's gonna be. So I'm glad it was.
Yeah, some of them are loud.
But yeah, I mean, Coop Miners is getting so much praise, and Vlahovic for. By the way, can you Google who has the MVP of the game? It would be nice to find out. But yeah, Coop Miners, let's give the boy one. I mean, he's.
It's not give the boy one, because that makes it sound like he doesn't deserve it. I told you, like, it was between Coop and Duchamp for me. He does. I mean, in midfield, what was it? It was against Real Madrid. He made 1 forward pass the entire game.
Ouch.
Okay, 1 forward pass. Today, as a ball-playing defender, he goes what? He goes 5 of 9 accurate long balls. He's got 8 passes into the final third. I mean, he was very active in his distribution in a meaningful, purposeful, and positive way. He absolutely deserves it. It's not we should throw our boy one. No, I mean, he absolutely deserves to be in the equation.
All right, let's run it back then, huh? I lost the drop, but anyways, yeah. Somebody mentioned his second game in defense. It's not like this was a fluke, and he stepped up, played a defender. I feel like for the previous game as well, he deserves a shout. But there's the two sides to it. Duchamp was really impactful during the actual game. I mean, he brought us the the goal and a million shots on target, like you mentioned. But in the long run, I feel like Coop Miners has given a little stability to the back line. He showed up after being, playing under the radar last few months. So
I got something to add to the
Yes,
Coop
sir.
thing, because Jack, as you mentioned, Farhad, our boy Jack, he brought his kids to the game today, and he just texted us saying that Coop is a vocal leader on the pitch, and it's not something that comes across on TV. He doesn't think. He said he basically describes how Coop was moving players around to make sure their assignments were matched up, and I think Coop captained Atlanta, and he captained AZ in the Netherlands before. It's a guy we know has leadership qualities. He's just lost the ability to play football for a while.
I feel like we lost hope.
Kind of, and it's because we had two managers who had no clue what to do with him, despite trying everything. I think if he can continue to display the confidence and composure that he has in these last two games in center back, why not ride it? Lloyd Kelly comes back, put him on the left side where Coop was playing, move Coop in where Gotti was playing, bring in that leadership, bring in that vision, bring in that long passing ability into our team that we've been lacking for at least as long as Bremer's out. I think there's no reason not to, considering how well it's worked.
Yeah, certainly with a new coach comes this reshuffling and stuff that other coaches could not bring out in players. So next few games we'll see, as we're seeing with Coop, what works for Spalletti, who works and who, it's going to be interesting to see. Yildiz, we mentioned it in our group chat. You were not happy with what I mentioned was Yildiz just needs to shoot. He was laying off too many balls to, we mentioned Thuram's bad, terrible shots on goal. Not even goal. It was way above. Am I wrong? Do you think Yildiz could have done something better with those opportunities or not? Granted, he was being shut down pretty badly.
I don't necessarily agree with all of that. I think it was a tactical opportunity cost taken by Spalletti. When you tell Cambiasso and McKennie to shift into the midfield, you need players to stay wide to give balance. And the players that were sacrificed were our wingers, Yildiz and Conceição. And I think Spalletti did that purposefully, and that's where he wanted him. It's really hard for a player out wide to get in a good position to strike threatening shots, I guess is my point, Farhad. So I don't blame Yildiz for not shooting, because I don't think it was from where he was positioned. It was the right call. I think he was playing a position more to set people up, whether it be crosses or passes into the middle. And that's what Spalletti tactically, at least in my interpretation of how they played, instructed him to play. I think what you're saying is we need him to play more centrally, maybe where Cambiasso was playing. Well, then we need a different fullback out there. And I think you'll see, and we did see it, not that Yildiz played last game though, with Kostic out there. If you played Yildiz kind of where he is today, he would be playing behind the striker, because Kostic always stays wide. And so I think it's a tactical thing based on the personnel chosen that forced Yildiz out wide.
There's a tweet that I want to read from our friend Inconvenient Truth on Instagram. I don't know if he wants me to give out his real name, but he's been on the podcast. I love our guy here. Zagrova is clearly still rusty. In hindsight, it's not surprising. He's been out of late. Still looked explosive in the dribble and creative part is a bit of a spark, but his rhythm and timing clearly need to be calibrated, which will come with more minutes. Such an exciting right winger option. Yeah, it was nice to see him for a few minutes out there, right?
I was surprised to see him in this game. And he looked like he's still hindered by his injury, which is what all the reports say. Mm-hmm. He did not have the spark or that first step, jump and flair that we know he's capable of, and it made me kind of curious on whether he was really the right choice in that moment. because of it. So it was nice to see him. Hopefully, this means he might be getting past the injury issues that he's had. Hopefully, I don't know if that's the case, but he does still seem to be either lacking confidence and ability to take people on due to his injury, or where he's physically still not there yet.
Let's read a couple of Zach. Why don't you pull up a couple of, if we have any quotes from Spalletti? I haven't had time. Meanwhile, I'll kind of go through the comments here. I feel like we should give a shout out to our people here in the chat. Coop impressed. Coop is the new Beckenbauer. Mitch says, yeah, that's not an overreaction. I agree with that as well. He was down a shoe. Zach, what happened with the shoe there? I feel like I missed the whole drama with the shoe. I saw a slowdown in the game, and I just went to do something. But I know the game had to be stopped for Coop Miners to tie a shoe or something.
My understanding of what happened, and I wasn't entirely clear on it, was that due to a tackle, there was a tear in his shoe that kind of disrupted the holes that you tie the shoelaces through, and so the shoelaces were kind of messed up because there was a tear there. And so, and a couple other people in the chat had joked about his shoe, where due to that, then sort of the balance or the security of your shoe on your foot was off. And so he tied it to continue, but then they had to get the new boots out because it was probably pretty awkward, honestly, to be playing that way.
I mean, have you put on the modern boots? They're just so paper thin. So whenever a player gets stepped on, I just feel their pain just immensely because they're literally paper thin. I feel like, yeah, those shoes are flimsy. Come on, get the guy better shoes, right? There's a lot of negativity towards Gatti. To me, he shows moments of brilliance, moments of grinta. But the technical ability sometimes lags, and he showed a couple of moments where he was just slow. He was just big and clunky and slow back in the defense. So, question about Gatti is, yeah, he's there for the team. He can yell, he can be upset, he can pump them up. But does his technical ability fit his drive? Like I just don't feel like he's that good technically. Even though he's a good teammate, I feel like.
He has not exhibited the level of play that we saw last year. Even last year, I did not ever really want him as our number one defense. I liked him as rotational play because I thought his passion and at times his play were a good fit for moments and our team, and was a laudable stopgap. I never wanted him as a starter. And then when you include what I feel like has been poor form all season, it really exposes, I think, our back line, which is why I was almost advocating for playing a center midfielder over him when Lloyd Kelly comes back, because he just has not been able to put together a string of performances this year. And in all the games that he's played, there've only been small moments where he's done well. Usually on the offensive side, right? His bicycle kick or his goals, right? I mean, defensively, he's been getting beat one-on-one against people that he should never. I mean, just like against Vardy, a geriatric striker bodies him. I mean, the guy worked construction. That's embarrassing. I have secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah.
Still from that moment. He just has not been able to put it together this year. I don't know why. I don't really, with Bremer's injury, maybe that's just what it is, but he is not impressed.
Comments here. Gatti, same as Danilo, as a leader, yes. As a player, bench or sell.
No.
Different. I mean,
No.
Danilo was. You felt confident, barring those terrible performances where he literally got benched for. If I'm remembering correctly, but Danilo, comparing Gatti to Danilo, ouch.
No, that you can't make that comparison. You have what, a 26-7-year-old Gatti versus what, 34-year-old Danilo, who literally won every trophy in Europe that there is to win. I mean,
he's a captain of the Brazilian national team.
There's very his leadership qualities. Nobody on this team comes close to Danilo's leadership qualities or his trophy cabinet. So
You know
I don't
what?
think you can't compare that.
You know what, Zach? I'm glad that Danilo got a shout out on today's episode. Never forget, right? Danilo did not deserve what he got.
Like, I don't
So-
know. I don't know. A lot of our followers, I think, are on the newer side because we just were reviving our YouTube channel last year, or towards the end of last year. But I really struggled with us letting Danilo go because, and solely because of the leadership he brought our locker
Yeah.
room, and
Mhm.
how much was since that moment. Have we talked and bemoaned the fact that we don't have a leader or an adult in the dressing room? We've talked about how Loka is in it, or during last year when Captain Katz was having his run, or Captain America had his run, or the immaturity that we talk about players going out during the Club World Cup to party instead of relax after a crushing defeat against City, and blah, blah, blah. That probably wouldn't have happened if you had an adult like Danilo in the room.
Yeah. Colo 99. We are, by the way, I'm working with Dan Colosimo as always on some new drops. There have been an uptick in orders on TurinGiants.com, and I appreciate you guys. Obviously, all this newfound fame on YouTube that we have here.
Fame.
Fame. I know. We have 45 people watching us. All of a sudden, we're famous. But you know what? Small steps, man. I appreciate everyone.
Look, we love everyone who does, but fame. Come on, Farhad.
Come on. I cannot walk down the street without being mobbed. I don't know about you, but here in Chicago, I am. That's why I record from my home. I literally cannot go into public. But
Jeez.
Going back to Colosimo, what would you guys do with the defense once Bremer comes back? Is Bremer coming back? I heard end of November. Is that what you read as well? Because
yeah. So
seems like the injury is pretty bad. So seeing him coming back before the end of the year is kind of encouraging.
I think there's a couple treatment options. I think what they're saying right now is definitely before the end of the year, but that's not really clear on the treatment path that they're going to go. And I think there's a couple options there. So it could be longer because it's on the same leg where his previous injury was. And so don't say that he's going to be back by the end of November and have anyone take that as, solid gold. I think his it's sort of a developing situation, but everyone that I've heard from and read about is assuming that he will be back in a meaningful way this year. Or this season, not this calendar year. Yeah. In which case, to answer Dan's question, it comes down to ultimately how Spalletti wants to play. For the sake of discussion, to answer the question, I should say, we're going to assume that the formation stays the same and that this isn't a slow transition to a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. If he keeps this 3-4-2-1, the position I think is clear. Bremer comes in for Gatti day one. Okay. I hope they bring. I hope they bring him back slowly. Right. I think we brought him a little bit back too fast. We had him starting every game, playing 90 minutes every game, which I think probably aggravated his leg or at least contributed to this injury. Once he's able to, he should be playing that role game in, game out in whatever capacity is appropriate for his recovery.
All right. Well, tail end of the podcast. Let's read a couple of quotes here from Spalletti, shall we? Sporting are a very good team because they play an attacking style of football. They like to keep possession and have a ferocious press. We had a complicated start with a great reaction. We took the game in hand and deserved to take the lead, creating 3 or 4 good chances. At the start, we lost the ball too cheaply, weren't clean enough in our passing, struggled under pressure. But in general, after that, the team played well. Not to bore you guys. Blah, blah, blah.
I think there's two meaningful quotes.
Sir.
Quotes, Farhad.
Yes.
The first is, I still believe this is a strong team. I'm convinced that if we continue with the spirit we displayed today, we will win many games. And I think we can, despite not winning today, I think most people would agree with that. The level of energy, the playing for full 90 minutes, the chances we fashioned relative to the chances, very minimal chances that we potentially conceded. this is a type of team against a very good Sporting team that could do well over the course of the season. I think the second really meaningful quote from Spalletti was shouting out the crowd. The stadium was packed. It was beautiful atmosphere,
Yes.
and everyone surrounding you. The players felt it too with a good performance, and we can always improve, but I feel we can achieve something together. Bringing the fans and players together, I thought was also really cool. Again, highlighting that there's a lot of potential with this team, and I don't know. Chat, you tell me if you agree. I think if we play like we did today and continue to go throughout the season, that we absolutely are going to be more successful than we exhibited under our last two managers. Because I loved how we played today, and it was a really fun game for me to watch tactically. It's just taking a step back and just watching the open movement and everything.
Love it. Yeah. By the way, this is officially the most viewers we've ever had. Kids are chickens. No?
Not.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, kids.
I think you were with us where we had 67, and I told you. And Zers somewhere and everywhere are running around like mad, right?
You know what? I feel like Halloween was the end of 6-7. I feel like we're over it as a nation. Plus, having kids that age at home, they've kind of tapered down after Halloween. I mean, you saw costumes, people in costumes. This is the easiest costume this year was someone wrote 6 on their shirt, someone wrote 7 on theirs. But anyways, going back to I just appreciate that people are following us. I appreciate you guys. You mentioned the atmosphere at the stadium. It was rocking, and you know what's sad? When the stadium is rocking,
we have another garage door situation. So
kids in and out all day, man, all day.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I mean, we got some people talking about. We talked about the Champions League table. We got some folks talking about Serie A table. Obviously, this was not a league game, but we are 4 points back from first place, and not in November, but in December, we have some really important. Well, every game's important, right? But we got some notable games coming up next month. You got Napoli, Bologna, Roma, all in a row in December, and so I think if we can bet in with Spalletti, improve. Those games could very well be a signal of what the rest of the season will look like for this Juventus squad.
Going back to my point, you mentioned the atmosphere at the stadium. Like we mentioned, Jack, our newest addition to the podcast, he was at the game. He was actually at Milan Roma as well. Mm-hmm. And I understand his kids are Milan fans, and he sent me a video when Manyan saves the penalty. The kids are so happy. But yeah, the stadium was rocking, and like I was saying, the sad thing about it is I never know if it's the away section. Like if unless I recognize some of the chants, but sometimes it's shaky. But I don't think it was all Sporting fans today. There were surely, the commentator mentioned, I think it was 1,500, and I think the away section fits 3,000, so it wasn't packed. But seems like there's confidence, and there's in the air everywhere. I mean, we're talking here. We are talking about the game that could possibly, we can possibly exit the Champions League with one loss, but there's something in the air with a new coach, and maybe Champions League was, what's the word when it was an unreachable goal, but having a new coach, I feel like it translates to the atmosphere at the stadium as well.
You could definitely hear it through the TV. We were texting with Jack, who said it was electric as well there, and I think you try not to think about shoulda, woulda, couldas, right? Because you look back at that Villarreal game where we conceded a late equalizer. You look back at that Dortmund game against a very vulnerable Dortmund. Obviously, a great comeback, but it was a game that we could have taken. This Real Madrid team did not seem that very interested in playing Juventus, and you see it's hard not to go shoulda, woulda, coulda. If we had a coach that could get the best out of our players, what might have been? The only option we have is to look forward. We have winnable games, easier on paper games coming up in the Champions League with Bodo Glimt, Paphos, Benfica, and Monaco relative to the teams we played. It's up for the team to capitalize on it. I do want to see us go through to the elimination rounds. I don't want to pull a Conti and just say the hell with the Champions League. Let's focus on Serie A. I don't think we need to. And I want us to get into the next round.
Definitely. By the way, Paphos still with the coolest logo of all time. They have the young Dave Gahan there as their logo, the lead singer of Depeche Mode. Yeah, it will be an interesting November, December. Stay with us. I mean, this YouTube adventure could not have come at a better time, because we certainly have a few interesting games coming up, and this season is going to be amazing. Just wait until Spalletti plays against the Contes and against all of his adversaries.
Back to Napoli, I think a month from now.
That would be so interesting. We will definitely have some content for y'all. I think it's time to wrap this one up. Zach, it's always a pleasure. I truly do enjoy our tete-a-tete podcast together. It's always fun. Thanks to all of you guys who joined. We'll keep improving clearly my lighting here, which I feel like I'm sitting on the surface of the sun. If you're doing a podcast, kids, find a place where there's natural light, because it's the biggest pain in the ass with these cameras to come up with I was in here all day yesterday. I have new wallpaper behind me, kind of moved the posters around. So we are ready for an amazing season here at Turin Giants podcast. One last thing I wanted to mention. This is going to be a visual one. I want to just show something I made this for my wife because she's a huge Yildiz fan. And let me share the screen here as we have a fire alarm going on here.
What's going on at your house, dude?
It's just a madhouse here, man. This is probably the easiest design I've ever come up with, but it's just something that we can't get in trouble for.
What font is that?
It's a Sony font from the shirts from the 1996-98 Sony. Yeah, something I made up. We are ready. I just want to get the reaction from chat, but we'll move on.
Well, no, we'll say this is that don't you and maybe Dan as well, Colo99, have a couple designs in the hopper? That's what you told me, right?
We definitely do. Starting, I'm trying to aim. Can you hear the alarm, Zach?
Yes.
Yeah. Every time, someone's cooking something. I think it's Spalletti there in the kitchen cooking up something. But anyways, clearly nobody can reach the button and turn it off. I think here we go. Strong finish, right? Zach, do you want to finish this episode? I'm gonna go see what's happening. We were doing so well.
I will finish.
Someone said podcast is more important than the house fire. It's not a fire. It's just every time you turn on the oven, this thing is so sensitive. It just starts going off.
Yeah. Okay. I will take it from here, Farhad. Thank you, everyone. And let's just quickly highlight some folks in chat. I know folks are starting to leave. That'll be a hell of a live show, right, Thomas? House burns down live. But Thomas, Mitchell, Hani, Kalo Star, other Mitch, Azaru, and everybody else in chat, we really appreciate you joining us in these post games. We really like doing these post game live episodes, and so we want to thank you for joining. If you have any recommendations and or thoughts, we definitely read the comments on these videos, so feel free to let us know. As you haven't figured out already, we're all constantly trying to change and evolve and improve. So any thoughts that y'all have, let us know. I don't think we shouted out the socials, but we're extremely active at Turin Giants on Instagram. If you don't already follow us there, please do. Got some cool content. Also, probably the quicker way to get a hold of us, if you do not subscribe already to the YouTube at Turin Giants Official, and or on our Spotify Turin Giants. As any content creator could tell you, those things mean a lot. So we'd really appreciate you guys throwing a subscribe and or a follow and or like or whatever they are for whatever platform you use. Because I know we have a lot of folks who listen to us after the fact. Please go ahead and do that. It does mean a lot to
Sure,
us.
sure does.
And he's back. I'm been
Yeah,
feeling a lot of
that
dead
is-
air today. I think I did okay.
Sad to announce, but they're all dead. But podcast is life, as they say.
That's not funny. They're not dead.
It's not fun. They're not. They're
No.
not.
The,
They're
the
not.
Kevin lasagna in the oven might be, but everyone's fine.
One last thing. One couple of things. Like you mentioned, there's merch coming. Please be patient. I have so many. This brain of mine has so many ideas, and believe me, you'll have stuff to buy for your friends and relatives for Christmas or New Year's, whatever you celebrate. One last thing. If you can, if the listeners can dial, if they have any thoughts, there's a chance you might hear your voice on this show. The phone number is area code or country code 1-630-426-9290. I'll repeat it again. I'm just trying to start something new. If you leave a voicemail that makes it on the air, I will send you a small gift. It'll probably be a couple of stickers, but it's yeah, the stickers are awesome. There you go. Alessandro is back on Zach's mic. So once again, leave a voicemail or with something for us to discuss. If it's something longer than like a comment on the video, and we'll get to it. I'll send you a gift. 630.
Okay, go
Yes.
ahead. Yeah. So say it one more time, then I have a question.
The phone number is 1-630-426-9290. It will go straight on the voicemail. So just leave it, and I'll if it gets popular, we'll create like a voicemail or something.
Has anyone left one?
No, just me. I'm leaving voicemails for myself. I'm like, does this
Please
still
tell me
work?
you're using voices. Are you using voices? Hey, it's odd. Yeah.
It's a very strange conversation, but yeah, I've checked. It works. 630-426-9290. Leave a voicemail, win a gift. All right, love you guys. This was super fun. I'm glad that we took care of some business here.
All right, thanks y'all. Thanks Farhad. Thanks everyone in chat. We appreciate all of you.
Yes, Zach, should I play this?
No, no, you should not.
We'll just. Thanks, Zach. Love you, buddy.